Hello and welcome to episode 6 of my lipstick rotation series. I've already done 5 episodes of this, so I don't really want to go too much into detail into the introductory part because you've already heard it like a million times, but just in case this is the first video you come across, this is a series in which I basically go through my whole lipstick collection for a variety of reasons. First of all, because it's just really fun to go through your lipstick collection and just see what you have, rediscover old favorites, declutter some, find out that you're really not into some types of colors anymore, but at the same time you have re-fallen in love with lipsticks that you had totally forgotten about. So in the beginning of episode 5, I said that probably we have enough lipsticks to do 1 or 2 more episodes. However, I've started filming episode 5 sort of in the beginning of 2023, and then throughout 2023 I sort of went bonkers and bought many more Eldridge lipsticks. And then this year is the year I've discovered bougie lipstick, so I've already bought like 1, 2, 3, 4. It is today, what is it? It is the 24th of February and I've already bought like 6 or 7 new lipsticks just within the first 2 months of this year. So I'm telling you, this is the year of lipstick for me. I've just really been into lipstick, so that makes this series that much more exciting. That it was the first time that I actually went and counted how many lipsticks I actually actively use in my collection still, like some that I use more often, some that I don't use as often, and I think the number was around 84. So we have enough for at least 3 more episodes, and I've been decluttering quite a bit in the meantime because recently in a video where I demoed my red lipsticks, I found out that one of my Urban Decay lipsticks had actually finally expired, and with that I went and re-sniffed a bunch of my older Urban Decay lipsticks and I found out that a few more had expired. I definitely think one of the things that I had to be confronted with during this series is hitting the expiration date of my Urban Decay lipsticks and finding out that some of the colors that I was really into a couple of years ago, like 6-7 years ago when these were first launched, are just no longer my cup of tea. 6-7 more years ago. Anyway, I said I wasn't going to do a long intro and here we are 4 minutes later. I'm going to try to edit this to the absolute minimum. But we are opening episode 1 with a lipstick that I can't believe that I haven't shown you yet. So we're starting off with my absolute favorite formula from Eldridge, our girl Eldridge here. This is the Luxuriously Lucent formula, and this is my first, or one of my first, I think it's my first Lucent that I ever bought from her when she released the line. This is the shade Spirited Away, and you can see how little I have left in the bullet. This is a gorgeous terracotta nude. It is a beautiful nude. It is slightly warmer leaning. It flatters me so much, and like I said, this is my favorite formula that Lisa has ever made, and in fact it is my favorite cream, like shiny lipstick formula, just because of how beautifully it wears. It never travels outside of my lip lines. It wears away like a stain. It feels so balmy and comfortable on the lips. I can't say enough good things about the Luxuriously Lucent formula from Eldridge. So I am sincerely hoping that in 2024 she's going to give us more colors in this formula. So today we've got this absolutely stunning lipstick from Gucci Beauty. So this is one of their satin lipsticks. Gucci has 3 formulas. They have mattes, they have satins, and they have the lipsticks that are more like a lipstick slash balm, and I think they also have like actual balms. I have one of their satins, which is this shade. This is the shade Janet Rust. They do have Janet Rust in the matte formula as well, but I am more of like a satin gal, so my default is always to purchase the satins over the mattes. And I know I just showed it to you, but let's admire it again. So the packaging of these lipsticks is an absolute ode to vintage beauty, and you have this like beautiful detailed engraving on it. The mattes have a similar type of packaging, but it is just slightly different so that you can differentiate between the different formulas. Here is how the lip balm type formula looks like. So it is very recognizable because it has the beautiful like floral design on the outside. This is a gorgeous shade. Janet Ross, I think, is one of the most popular shades, and really for good reason. This is a stunning autumnal, you know, brown, red, orange, which leans a bit more on the red side than it really leans on the orange side. It's just so beautifully balanced between all these different tones, and it's a very Mariam shade. I also think the formula of this lipstick is phenomenal because it never feels uncomfortable on the lips. It feels very lightweight and it lasts so incredibly well. The first time I wore this lipstick, I was truly impressed at how long and how well it lasted. It sort of sets down to like a demi-matte sort of finish, and it just hangs out throughout the rest of the day. This is the kind of lipstick that hardly needs any reapplication. even after you have had food. Honestly, if it weren't for the fact that I'm trying to exercise some self-control, I would probably go and buy a couple of more shades from this range, because this is absolutely stunning. Can you believe we haven't done Ribbon by Lisa Eldridge? It's been 5 episodes and only now we're finally getting to Ribbon from Lisa Eldridge. Can you believe it? I know, neither can I. I don't know that there's much that is left to say about Ribbon that I haven't said about a million times before. I've talked about this lipstick so much that I think by now everyone knows how I feel about it. This is literally the most perfect classic-based, blue-based red lipstick that has ever been created. I can only imagine very few people on whom this lipstick wouldn't be sheer perfection, but on everyone else this is the perfect red lipstick. It is an incredible formula, an incredible color, it wears amazingly, and since I've already talked about it so much and you know about it already so much, I'm just going to take the opportunity to brag at look at how much of a little stubby is left in here. And I know what you're thinking, this is still like at least several years left of use, but this is probably the shortest stubby I have from a velvet from Lisa Eldridge, and that is rather impressive because it is first of all a red lipstick, and second of all a red lipstick that has such amazing lasting power that I don't really have to reapply it all that much throughout the day. I can tell you for a fact, if I ever actually pan Ribbon, I'm going to run and repurchase it because I cannot be without this lipstick. There's just something so special about how this lipstick looks, not just on me, on other people. I recognize it when friends of mine are wearing it. I can recognize it on people when they're wearing it, you know, on Instagram. There is just something about this lipstick that is so recognizable. It is such a gorgeous shade. So I would run out and repurchase this if I lost it, if I finished it, because I cannot be without it. So the lipstick I have on today is another one of the long discontinued Luxe Trance formula from Pat McGrath Labs, and the shade is She Is Heaven. She Is Heaven is the only like true nude from Pat McGrath Labs that has ever worked for me. Now, not that I have tried a lot of them, but just based on a lot of photos, I've concluded that a lot of them wouldn't work for me, and I do actually have one more shade in the Luxe Trance formula from her that I've grown to really dislike. When I bought it, I thought, maybe this still works, but really it doesn't. This is the shade Donatella, and Donatella is just one of those lipsticks that makes me look like I'm a dead person. It just, there's something about the tones of this. I think the depth of the lipstick is fine. I can work with the depth, but you see it has a little bit of that grungy tone that just does not look good against my skin tone. Now, luckily, that is not the case for She Is Heaven. She Is Heaven has a little bit of a more of a mauve tone to it, or there's something about the tone that fits my skin tone a little bit better. I still wouldn't call it my most perfect nude, and you guys know how I feel about nude lipsticks. I think it's so difficult to find a true nude shade that suits you. I think She Is Heaven just about works for me. Is it one of my absolute favorites? No, but I do think that it looks good enough. Now, there's a little bit of a sheen going on my lips that is coming not only from the lipstick itself, but also from one of the glosses that I really love to pair with this specific shade. The sheen is coming from one of Pat's last glosses, I think also like a discontinued formula. These were the last glosses that had the very heavy shimmer to them. This is one of the, Opulous glosses, now I remember the name. And this one is in the shade Lavendering, and I thought it matched the look really well, and I really wanted to take the opportunity to wear the gloss because we've talked about this before, but I feel like Lisa Eldridge's formula doesn't really work with a lip gloss. You need a little bit more of like substantial creamy formula that just won't be dissolved by the lip gloss. And the Luxe Trance happens to be a formula that works really well with a gloss over top. So whenever I wear She Is Heaven, I feel compelled to put a little bit of a gloss over top of that just so I can enjoy the glosses as well. Let me just swatch for comparison here on my hand, also She Is Heaven next to Donatella. You can see that She Is Heaven has more depth, it has a bit more of like a browny, mauvey tone to it, and that's why it fits me just a little bit better. It's a shame that Donatella didn't work for me because it is a very nice nude and I'm sure that on someone else it will look great, but it just isn't me. Okay, let's talk about my second Hermes lipstick purchase. Now, you've already seen the packaging of this lipstick in my previous episode, because in fact, the color that belongs in here is not the color that is currently housed in this packaging. So I purchased another Hermes lipstick. For reference, this is how their normal, like regular line of lipsticks looks like, which is still stunning, by the way. And the one that I showed also in my previous episode is a limited edition one. Now I'm realizing this is actually a little bit heavier because of this like metal component here. But anyway, besides the point. So in my previous episode, we talked about this shade. This is the shade Beige Crosette, which was housed in this packaging. And then I had mentioned that in my mind, this packaging just begs for a red lipstick. So I did go on the website and I purchased a red lipstick. And I went into this with the idea that I'm going to try to find the dupe for a lipstick that went bad on me. If you have seen my top 10 red lipstick video, you will know that one of my favorite reds, Urban Decay Wonderland, unfortunately has gone bad on me. Now this lipstick is really old, it's from 2015 and I have worn it for 8 long years with so much love and affection. So it's not the worst thing in the world that lipstick has gone bad. What is, however, really heart-wrenching and crushing is that I knew it would be very hard to find the dupe for this shade. There is just something very special about the tones of this lipstick because it is a red while still being a very bright pink red. So I did go on the Hermes website and it's hard to choose a shade online, right? It's always, you're dependent on the lighting on the photo. I tried to search for swatches, but Hermes lipsticks are not necessarily something that is a lot out there. So in the end, I chose for this shade. This is the shade Rouge Vignet. It is a beautiful red and from what I could tell from the photos, it does indeed have very strong pink tones. And it is in fact a gorgeous red, but it is not a dupe for Wonderland. And you can see that just by looking at the bullets of the two lipsticks. But if I don't forget, I do actually have footage of me trying both of these lipsticks on, just for reference for myself. So I will try to show you the footage so that you can see. So I still have not really been able to find a dupe for Wonderland. But there is something about the undertones of this lipstick. Every time I wear it, I feel like an absolute goddess. It is so beautiful. I am so in love with it. There is something about pink-toned reds and like blue-toned reds that really suits my skin. I love my warmer reds. I think they look very flattering on me too. But there is just something about the cooler toned reds that is particularly flattering on me, and there is something about this specific shade that is just gorgeous to me. So unlike the previous shade that I had, which is Beige Crosette is their like shiny finish formula, whereas this is a classic satin lipstick. It applies very opaquely on the lips. It is extremely comfortable and very long wearing. This just sort of like dries down and the sheen goes away throughout the day, but the actual lipstick grips onto the lips really well. This is a superb satin finish formula because it remains comfortable throughout the day, so it doesn't really dry out your lips the way a matte lipstick would, but it still has those long wearing qualities to it. So it will not be a lie if I tell you that right now in this very moment I want to go and buy all the satin lipsticks from the Hermes line. Obviously I won't because they're freaking expensive, but I think in the future, if I were to buy more shades, I would be more willing to buy their satin formula over their matte formula. So this is one of the new Rouge Dior lipsticks. They reformulated their lipsticks just a few months ago and I was extremely attracted by this launch. It's actually the launch that like snowballed my love affair with bougie lipsticks. So this is the shade 720 Icone or Icone, depending on how you want to pronounce it. The name is going to be somewhere on the screen here and it is in their satin formula. This is a gorgeous lipstick in many aspects. It is a beautiful color because it is such an interesting neutral shade. Like I would consider this like a nudish neutral type of shade, but with a hint of like plum red wine tones to it, just enough to make it a little bit more interesting and to stand out. I absolutely love the color, but I also really enjoy the formula. This is the type of formula that you're not going to feel on your lips. It's very nourishing. It has a little bit of a sheen to it, but it's not overly balmy. It's not overly emollient. It's not going to travel out of your lip lines to unknown addresses. And I actually have very little to critique about this lipstick. The only thing about both this lipstick and the velvet lipstick, so the matte formula that I have from this release, and I actually think all of the Dior lipsticks, I don't know what's going on with them, but like they're trying to win a fucking prize when it comes to how scented their lipsticks are. At this point I've tried a number of luxury lipsticks and they are all scented to a certain degree, but like Dior's literally trying to win the prize there, and I don't really know why. It's not the kind of prize that you want to win. So the only thing I would tone down if I were Dior is the scent of this lipstick. Otherwise it is sheer perfection. Have I just been showing you red lipsticks like this whole episode? Because that could easily be the case. I am in my heavy red lipstick phase. I've always enjoyed red lipstick, but recently I've been enjoying it like even more. And you're also in my bougie lipstick phase. So if you see a lot of really expensive lipsticks featured in this episode, that's the reason. Welcome to my newest obsession, Hermès lipsticks. So I already have one of their shiny lipsticks. I already have one of their satins. I want to say that the satin is one of the previous lipsticks that I showed in this video, maybe even the previous one. And I had to solve the mystery of what the matte lipstick formula of Hermès is like, because I heard very divisive opinions on it. Some people really like it, some people really dislike it. Now, the shade that I got is one of their new like 2024 summer collection colors. This is called Rouge Cinetique and it comes in this beautiful limited edition packaging. It is a bright tomato red. It is a beautiful shade for the spring. It is really vibrant. I really love the contrast that it makes today with this spring green. I feel very alive, very cheerful, very much, you know, ready for spring and summer when I wear this shade. Now, as far as the matte lipstick formula is concerned, I don't really have an issue with this lipstick being too drying, but I am very rigorous also about my lip care. So I apply a lot of very moisturizing things before I apply the lipsticks, and sometimes like not even all of the moisturizing things that I've put on my lips, like balms, oils, whatever, has actually like completely been wiped off my lips because I just don't feel the need for that. Something that I wanted to add, this applies like a very creamy, it is a matte, but it is very creamy. There's a little bit of like shine to it, which I actually really enjoy because it gives the lipstick like a very pleasant texture on the lips. It does eventually dry down to that like more powdery matte finish, but I don't find it to be one of those like overly matte lipsticks. I think over the course of the day it gets pretty matte, not to the point where it's really uncomfortable, but definitely to the point where you can see that it is quite matte in texture. Now, the only similar shade that I have in my collection is Obsessed from Pat McGrath Labs, and I just wanted to show you the difference in the formula because this is so much more lightweight and not as white based as Obsessed. And Obsessed is a color that actually does dry out my lips a little bit if I don't prep well. So here are the two bullets next to each other. You can see they're very similar in terms of the shade, but I do find Obsessed to be thicker formula, and I do think it has more of like that white base to it. So here is the color Obsessed. Obsessed is just almost like a neon tomato red, whereas this one is more like a subtle tomato red, if that makes any sense. And I do think that has a lot to do with the formula, because Obsessed is just a more, how should I put this? It's a thicker, more substantial formula. Like the matte trans lipsticks from Pat McGrath are definitely a somewhat more substantial formula. Not a bad formula, not a cheaper formula, just a different formula, which, as you can see, delivers quite a bit of punch. I do very much like Obsessed, but Obsessed is a color that I can really only wear in the summer because it is so like neon and so bright. But you know, to wrap the rambling about Rouge Cinetique up, I love this shade. I don't find the matte formula to be very drying, but I think you have to take this with a grain of salt because every color, even within the matte formula line, will behave somewhat differently on your lips. As you know, I've recently been determined to buy and try all the luxury lipsticks that are out there, and the Prada lipsticks have been some of the newest addition to my lipstick collection. This specific shade is one that I actually love both of the shades that I have purchased from Prada. You are eventually going to see the other shade that I bought featured as well, but I just have to talk about this lipstick because not only of the color but also the formula. So these lipsticks that come in the silver, like the bullet with the silver like element here, are their soft matte formula, and their soft matte formula is just so incredibly interesting to me. The bullet is really beautiful, and the shade of this is also very pretty. This is the shade Sienne, which is a gorgeous, like, yeah, nude sienna color. But these soft matte lipsticks, they have such an interesting formula to them. They are blurring on the lips, they feel like that they have that like soft focus finish on the lips, and they wear so nicely, they're so comfortable on the lips. I mean, this is a soft matte, so it implies that it will be a more comfortable matte, but I also have one of their hyper mattes, and that one has a very like similar feel on the lips, like very like creamy and hydrating and like such an interesting texture on the lips. Both of them have that blurring quality to them. Definitely the prize for most innovative lipstick formulation in recent years is gonna go to Prada. If there are ever awards for like the most interesting unique formula on the market right now, it should go to Prada because these are so cool, and I love the shade of Sienne. You know how I feel about my deeper nudes because I think they just flatter me so much more than the actual nudes, and Sienne is just the absolute perfect nude for my skin tone. I love it. Today we have another one of the Lucents from Eldridge. This is the shade Wonder Wheel, which is a beautiful warm watermelon type pink. This is one of the newest Lucents in my collection. Do you know why I bought this? I bought this because I was out of Lucents from Eldridge to buy. She hasn't released a new Lucent in almost 2 years at this point, and I have all the colors that I could possibly like deeply desire in my collection. So then recently I've been purchasing shades that I've thought, I don't really know where this is for me, but I'm out of other Lucents to buy, so I might as well. Which is a really dumb reason to be buying lipsticks, but luckily in this case, because it's Eldridge and because she really knows what she's doing with color, this is actually a really beautiful pink shade. It is almost like bordering on a coral because it has that very strong like watermelony tone to it, but it still resides within the pink family, and I think it flatters me because it is on the warmer side of pinks. I don't like my pinks to be super cool toned, like Barbie pinks really do not suit me, but as far as this one is concerned, I think it looks really nice and it really like livens up my complexion, so I'm not too mad at my purchase. But I still wanted to mention what the reason was I bought this lipstick for, because I thought it might give you a chuckle. Ending this episode on a very high note with a very special lipstick. This is Ryan from Tom Ford. This is one of the boys collection from Tom Ford. Don't tell me if this is not Ryan Gosling, okay? I don't know which Ryan Tom is referring to, but if it is not Ryan Gosling, please do not tell me, because in my fantasy, it is Ryan Gosling, okay? This is a very special lipstick because this was my first Tom Ford lipstick, and it was a birthday present from my brother and my sister-in-law. And at the time, I wasn't really as comfortable buying luxurious lipsticks as I am now, so for them to give me this as a gift was really something very special. Now, the shade Ryan is one that I had sort of forgotten about. I'll be honest with you, I only have one other Tom Ford lipstick, also from the boys collection, the shade Ben, which I believe I have demoed in one of the previous episodes of this series, and I wear Ben a little bit more often because Ben is a gorgeous brown. But I kind of forget about Ryan because it's a relatively old shade, and it comes from a time when I think I wasn't super into that kind of shade of lipstick. But what I've come to realize is that Ryan is actually a satin version of Blush by Eldridge. It hits those same like berry plum notes, but in a satin finish. It's a very comfortable satin lipstick. It's a little bit shiny, it's very hydrating. I really enjoy it, and I think it is very impressive how long this lipstick has lasted me, because I am pretty sure they gave me this lipstick as a present in 2017 or 2018, because I recall we had just moved to this house when I got this lipstick. Many of you had pointed out that these Tom Ford lipsticks go off quite fast, so I've always been afraid that I'm not going to get enough time with this lipstick. But I'll be honest with you, this lipstick still smells amazingly like vanilla, and I've had no issues with it, or Ben for that matter. So I'm very pleased with this color. This lipstick is just such a beautiful memory for me, and I absolutely love it. And I love that we are ending episode 5 with this lipstick because it is such a special lipstick for me. This is actually not the only lipstick that my brother has given me that is so special for me. I think I already demoed the YSL one. The year after that, or 2 years after that, he also gave me this beautiful like tangerine orange by YSL, which I have already demoed in one of the previous episodes. So my brother really knows how to pick really gorgeous, unique shades of lipstick for me, which is very special. Anyway, I'm going to wrap this episode up. I hope you enjoyed the 10 lipsticks that I demoed here. We're going to continue on this journey as time goes on. Let me know which was your favorite lipstick out of the bunch that I showed this time. As usual, thank you so much for watching. I'm gonna have to run to work now, and I will see you very soon in my next video. Bye!